Tonight the outrage is not just about a draw, not just about a missed call, and not even just about one furious coach standing in front of the cameras after 90 brutal minutes. It is about a pattern. It is about memory. It is about a nation looking at the biggest stage in football and asking the same question it has asked for years. When the moment comes, who is the game really protecting? Ghana walked into that match against England carrying more than a game plan. It carried history on its back. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why one controversial decision has exploded into a global argument about FIFA, fairness, and a wound Ghana believes never truly closed. If you want investigative football stories that go deeper than the headlines, subscribe now, because what happened here only becomes more disturbing the closer you look. When the final whistle blew on Ghana's 1-1 draw with England at the 2026 World Cup, Carlos Queiroz did not sound like a man pleased with a point against one of the tournament favorites. He sounded offended. He sounded exhausted. He sounded like someone who had just watched an old nightmare arrive wearing a new uniform. VAR went for coffee, he snapped, a line so sharp it spread instantly across broadcasts, press rooms, and phones around the world. Think about that for a moment. In the age of endless cameras, endless angles, endless reviews, Ghana still came away believing the most important incident of the night had been seen by everyone except the people paid to judge it. That is the contradiction at the center of this story. FIFA sells certainty. Ghana experienced doubt. To understand why this draw felt like a robbery to so many Ghanaians, you have to go back 16 years, back to Johannesburg, back to the night that still lives in Ghanaian football like an open scar. The 2010 quarterfinal against Uruguay was supposed to be the breakthrough, the night an African team finally crossed into a World Cup semifinal. Instead, it became one of the cruelest endings the tournament has ever produced. In the final seconds of extra time, Luis Suarez stopped a goal with his hands on the line. A red card was shown. A penalty was awarded. Justice seemed simple. And then Asamoah Gyan struck the bar. Uruguay survived the shootout. Ghana fell. Suarez celebrated in the tunnel as if theft had become strategy. For Ghana, that moment was never filed away as mere heartbreak. It hardened into suspicion. It taught a generation that even when the rules were applied, the result could still feel unbearably wrong. So when Ghana arrived for this tournament and found itself placed opposite England, this was never just another group stage fixture. England came in wrapped in expectation, depth, and status. A team stacked with elite club stars and described by pundits as a serious contender before a ball was even kicked. Ghana came in with absences, doubts, and the familiar burden of proving itself all over again. Key players were missing. The margin for error was tiny. Yet from the opening exchanges, Ghana played with discipline, shape, and nerve. The back line held compact. The midfield closed spaces quickly. The press came in sudden waves rather than reckless bursts. England had more of the ball, more of the noise around them, more of the assumed authority. Ghana had the better sense of purpose. Stay with that contrast because it matters. One side was expected to control the night. The other side kept refusing to behave like an underdog. And for long stretches, that refusal unsettled England. Ghana tracked runners, blocked passing lanes, and forced a heavyweight into uncomfortable decisions. This was not chaos football. It was controlled resistance. It was tactical patience. It was a team refusing to be emotionally dragged into the kind of frantic match England wanted once frustration started to rise. When Ghana went forward, it did so with intent. When England pressed, Ghana played through pressure or drew the foul and reset. Every clearance meant something. Every tackle carried a message. We are still here. We are still here. We are still here. That is why what came next hit so hard. Because Ghana was not begging for mercy. Ghana was earning respect. Ghana was building a result. And then, in the moments that define tournaments and haunt nations, the conversation turned away from football and back toward officiating, procedure, and the invisible line between mistake and injustice. The incident, now replayed across television studios and social media feeds, centered on a Ghana attack inside the area. A challenge, contact, and then nothing. No whistle for a penalty. No long pause that reassured anyone. No urgent signal that the review room was actively dissecting what millions had just seen. Play moved on, but anger did not. Replays appeared to show a defender arriving late and making contact that, on another night, in another shirt, in another stadium, would have forced at least a formal review. Former referees questioned why the sequence passed so quickly. Analysts who did not agree on much else suddenly agreed on this. The incident deserved far more scrutiny than it received. And that is where Queiroz's line became bigger than a soundbite. VAR went for coffee was not just sarcasm. It was an accusation that the very system designed to remove doubt had vanished at the exact second Ghana needed it most. Before we go deeper, if this is the kind of coverage you have been looking for, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the deeper layer of this story is not about one call alone. It is about what repeated controversy does to trust. When supporters, players, and coaches stop believing that technology will protect the integrity of the result, the damage spreads far beyond one match. It reaches every replay, every explanation, every official statement, every promise that the game is cleaner now than it was before. And yet, here is where it changes completely. Ghana's outrage was not built on paranoia. It was built on accumulated experience. Uruguay in 2010, another night of pain in 2026. Different opponent, different tournament chapter, same emotional conclusion. When Ghana stands at the edge of history, certainty suddenly becomes negotiable. That is the question shadowing FIFA now. What is accountability if the people inside the stadium, the people watching at home, and even retired officials in studios can all identify a moment worthy of review, yet the process glides past as though nothing happened? What exactly are teams supposed to trust then? The badge? The protocol? The silence? Football governance depends on belief as much as law. The laws of the game matter, but belief is what gives those laws moral force. Lose that, and every tournament becomes vulnerable to suspicion. Ghana understands that better than most. This nation has produced talent, discipline, and unforgettable courage on the world stage. Yet again and again, its defining World Cup memories are tied not only to opponents, but to moments where procedure felt colder than justice. Pull back further, and the picture grows darker. This is not just about who advanced or who dropped points. It is about who feels heard. And here is the part that matters most. Ghana did not leave that stadium broken. Angry, yes. Frustrated, absolutely. But broken, no. If anything, the performance against England reminded the world why Ghana remains one of football's most resilient nations. Missing players did not erase structure. Doubt did not erase courage. Controversy did not erase quality. The team absorbed the blow and still walked away with a result. Still walked away with evidence that it can compete with elite opposition. Still walked away knowing that even when the system felt indifferent, the players were not overwhelmed. Sit with that. Sit with that. Because resilience is not the same as acceptance. Ghana can be proud of its fight and still demand answers. It can honor the point and still reject the process. It can keep moving forward without pretending nothing happened. So no, this is not merely a debate over one referee, one review room, or one draw in a long tournament. It is a warning that technology without transparency can deepen mistrust instead of ending it. A warning that nations with long memories do not experience these moments in isolation. And a warning that Ghana's World Cup story is still unfinished, still aching, still reaching for the justice it keeps being told will arrive next time. Maybe redemption will come on the pitch. Maybe answers will come off it. But until they do, this match against England will live as another chapter in a painful file marked unfinished business. What do you think? Was this football's controversy, or another chapter in an old injustice? Comment below, like this video, subscribe, and remember this truth. Ghana did not forget, and the world should not either.